The large thing that we were truly intrigued by here was attempting to tentatively test whether you would take a coral that is by all accounts impervious to environment change and utilize that as the seed stock to spread and put out on an alternate reef that may be debased, Barott says. The cool thing was we didn't perceive any distinctions in their dying reaction after this transfer. Mass coral dying occasions are getting progressively incessant, raising concerns that corals will become casualties of environmental change sooner rather than later. However, Barott and associates have been contemplating the corals that oppose dying, with an eye toward purchasing corals more opportunity to hold tight despite warming and acidifying sea waters. One procedure they and others have imagined, and which has been tested in regions, for example, the Great Barrier Reef, is coral transplantation. Scientists could renew reefs harmed by environmental change, or other anthropogenic affronts, for example, sedimentation or boat establishing, with corals that had demonstrated strong and ready to get by notwithstanding intense conditions. For everything to fall into place, nonetheless, would require the coral survivors to keep on showing their tough qualities in the wake of being moved to another climate. On the off chance that you take a coral that is impervious to dying in its local living space, it very well may be that the pressure of moving to another spot may cause them to lose that capacity, Barott says. Similarly, as a plant that filled well in the shade may shrivel whenever moved to a bright plot, the states of another climate, including water stream rate, food access, light, and supplement accessibility, could influence the flexibility of relocated corals. Barott and partners pursued this inquiry with an investigation in 2 reefs in Hawaii. Iska, Ni, Obe on the island of Oahu, one nearer to shore with more stale waters and another farther from shore with higher stream. Around there, the specialists distinguished coral settlements that had opposed dying during the 2015 bleaching occasion and gathered examples from them the next year. Corals are clonal living beings, thus a piece taken from a province can regrow and will have a similar hereditary qualities as the mother coral. For every state, they kept a few examples on their local reef and relocated others to the subsequent reef. After the corals had gone through a half-year at their new area, the scholars additionally put coral examples from each site in tanks in the lab and reproduced another dying occasion by raising the water temperature over a time of a few days. Cautiously following the coral's well-being and the states of the general climate, the group estimated photosynthesis rates, digestion, and calcification rates, just as the strength of the cooperative green growth. They found that fading-safe corals remained as such, even in another climate. What was truly novel is that we had this profoundly imitated explorer, Barott says, and we saw no adjustment of the coral's fading reaction. The specialists additionally took a gander at how well the corals repeated the late spring that followed their assortment. A coral's local site conditions affected their future regenerative wellness, they found. The corals from the cheerful site, the external tidal pond that had higher development rates preceding the dying occasion, by and large appeared to be a little more joyful and their wellness was higher, Barott says. That discloses to us that, in case you will have coral nursery, you should pick a site with great conditions on the grounds that there is by all accounts some vestige advantage of investing energy at more pleasant site even after the corals are outplanted to a less cheerful site. The glad site, the tidal pond farther from shore, had higher stream rates than the other reef, which is nearer to shore, not so much pungent, but rather more stale. Higher stream rates are truly significant for assisting corals with disposing of waste and get food, Barott says. Barott, who began to work as a postdoc at the Hawaii Institute of Marine Biology, is proceeding to seek after explore on coral strength in her lab at Penn, including an examination of the impacts of warmth stress and fading on regenerative achievement and the capacity of coral sperm. While the consequences of the transplantation study are promising, she says that it would just be an impermanent answer for the danger of environmental change. I think methods like this can get us a tad of time, yet there is anything but a substitute for covering fossil fuel byproducts, she says. We need worldwide activity on environmental change in light of the fact that, in any event, blanching safe corals won't endure always if sea warming continues to increment however quick as it could be today.